So, but you can make it relatively nicer than the alternative.
Right.
So the table, all of a sudden, he likes being on the table because it sure beat the alternative, which was not hitting the front of the, not getting 4 feet on the ground.
Right.
So I like to give this example to make that point, is I dread going to the dentist. I had horrific experiences as a kid. I don't like going to the dentist. But if I get a little dull throb on a Friday afternoon, I can't wait to get to that dentist. I can't wait to get in that chair.
Right.
Because I know I'm in control of that pain.
Right.
And that brings me to another huge point of the perception of pain is based on the degree of control one feels. If you feel totally in control of what's happening, pain is completely manageable, if not obliterated. The American Indian, actually, the Shawnee, could actually train themselves to receive any kind of torture, and I mean evisceration.
Yes, it was brutal.
Under a 5-day slow smoldering stick fire, being
Right.
roasted alive, and they would laugh
Right.
at their torturer. So
Right.
pain is actually a matter of perception, and by using the balance hunger circuitry, you can change the dog's perception of what's happening. They come to associate that the vet is how he controls the moment.
Everything.
Yes,
Right.
having his ear clean, having his veins probed and poked, getting shots, having the rectal thermometer, that's how I'm in control. I like that. They can actually like that.
So you just make him fight to get up on the table. And
Right.
it was amazing to see Atticus, getting a needle stuck several times.
Exactly.
He didn't even flinch.
Yeah, that's when, all instincts come from the balance circuitry. And when a dog is, or an animal is in instincts, they're completely in their head. They cannot feel their body, which makes sense because if they're in pain and they feel out of control, they don't want to feel their body. So they get up in their head, and the brain generates instincts. So you can think of it as like this thundercloud, and it just wants to make static electric discharge. That's why people get bit. So by having him fight to get up there, I got rid of that static electric charge. And now he's in his body. And now he's in his body, so I'm massaging his neck. He can feel the pleasure of his neck being massaged, and he can feel the vet down there, and he can choose, I don't choose to feel that down there. That's not so hot.
It's irrelevant.
This is really hot. This is
Yeah.
great. That feels great. So you can change now I'm making it a positive, pleasurable experience.
It's interesting to make him, when you get him so he's in his body and is feeling his body, it actually makes the pain less.
It does.
You're saying because he's concentrating on the pleasure.
Yeah, see, pain, yeah, exactly. Pain and control are linked because if it's pain, it's easily manageable. But if someone's controlling the pain, it's stress overwhelming. Stress is cumulative.
And that's when dogs bite.
Right, and then what happens with stress, the difference between pain and stress is stress triggers physical memory.
So he can remember when he got pinned down at the vet the first time.
Right, so he's actually reliving all that horror. And then he bites, and somehow he's out of that vet clinic. Biting worked.
Biting worked. Right.
Even he got clubbed to an inch of his life, biting worked. That's how I'm out of here.
Right, and so just by having him fight to get up on the table,
Yes.
making him feel like he's in control of his body, and using food as a barometer, you made it an incredibly, pleasurable experience for him.
And then what happens is really cool. Is pretty soon the owners are gone with the dog. He's in control. He hops up there. You don't have to go through all that. Eventually, you don't have to go through that. We referenced Hercules in there. He comes down to see Dr. Ben, and he scratches at the door to come in, and Dr. Ben's all lovey-dovey with him. He hops up on the table. They do what they do, and that's that. I used to have to go and chaperone.
Right, you had to manage the whole thing.
Had to manage. But once you get the principles, it's so simple. Now, you should really be doing that with the little puppies. So they start to get squirrely. Oh, don't look out. There's the edge. Oh, and then he feels in control. You don't have to get this graphic with a little tiny puppy.
You mean when you take him to the vet with
Yeah,
a
your
puppy?
first experience is
So you would put a puppy up on a table?
Yeah, I would. And then I would
pull gently.
Just gently. And, just one of the reasons all the puppies do so well at vets is because when they were young, they put up on the table. So right away you invoked the fear of falling
Right.
and being in control paradigm based on that. And
But
that's why 99% of the dogs are fine at the vets.
Because people don't tend to use the table. A lot of people do a lot of vets.
A lot of
on the
vets
floor.
think they like to get on the floor and get lovey-dovey. Now, if you have a much mellow dog, I think the dog gets more panic, but he can relieve it now through his personality.
Right.
And he can get through 10, 20, 30 minutes. But you'd be surprised, even these dogs start to get snarly. I think all dogs should be vetted on a raised, slippery surface, and then they start to trust their owner. That's how my owner is part of me staying on this box. That's great. my owners, that's where the trust comes from.
I mean, I can testify to the effectiveness of this because you used to take, you used to come with me to the vet,
Right.
and we always put him up on the table, and now I just go in there and I set up a couple of chairs, and he just, so I don't have to lift him up there. He doesn't have to fight to get up there anymore.
Right.
I don't have to do anything. He just jumps up on the chairs, gets up on the table, and we can do, that vet can do anything to him at all.
Because it's he chose every step of the way.
Right.
Atticus chose to get up on that table.
Right, yeah.
And now it looked like I was making him, but that's in the human mind.
Right.
From the dog's perception, because he was fighting like crazy to get up there, I chose to be up there. And then everything now from then on is predicated on choice. And because it's choice, he's in control. How am I getting out of here alive? I'm taking control. Okay. And that works. And pretty soon he will actively get up there and want to be up there. Bring it on. I love it. I like anything to do with vetting because that's how I am in control.
Because some people could look at, when you were trying to get him up on the table and fighting him, some people could look at that and go, oh my God, that's so, that's freaking me out. You're freaking the dog out.
Yeah, they think I'm making it a negative experience.
But I mean, the difference between, look at how he looked at the end. He was so calm and happy.
Yes.
He wasn't pinned down, he wasn't forced, and Dr. Dow was more concerned with how Atticus was experiencing his visit than he was with doing the vet procedure.
Actually, that's a very good point. Who cares about getting the shot that day?
That's right, that's what he was saying.
If you had to just go there and have an experience, then all right, we'll do it the next day. We'll do it the next day. Make appointments until you get the dog trained properly. And again, you just have to affect it so he's in control. The exact opposite of what you think you should be doing.
Very interesting. And you were saying that when you're looking for a vet, you were saying this when you're at the vet clinic, that it's wise to use someone who's had a lot of large animal experience.
My preference is, it's like when I get on a plane, I like to see a grizzled World War II gray-haired veteran out there.
Not some young kid, right?
Yeah, really, I would like to see some combat pilot up there. So those days are waning, I guess. So same with my vet. I really like to see, I like the large animal vets who cut their teeth with horses and bulls and cows and goats, because you don't make a social statement to a bull. You want to get in and out. You want it as clean as a whistle.
Right.
You don't want to make a big deal out of it. Whereas the modern small animal vets, when they go to Cornell, they take behaviorism. Their school now you have to achieve dominance, which is exactly the wrong way to go, in my view. So they are unwittingly making problems worse, thinking they're applying, scientific theories of learning and how canines are socially organized, when in fact they're taking the dog out of choice by applying those technically abstract things that really aren't how animals learn, as we will explore as we go deeper into the quantum model.
Yeah, like you were saying, Dr. Dow said he did a lot of work with zoo animals.
Right.
And you don't mess with a lion.
Right. You don't want to make a social statement to a 2,500-pound bull.
Right.
A horse weighs 800 pounds. They weigh a lot. You don't have to be in control. You just want the horse to be amenable, and whatever works is their philosophy.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about, it looked like you were rewarding Atticus for his good behavior up there on the table.
Yeah, I would like to substitute the word grounding. So I was using the food to ground him in his body. So like I said, consciousness is made of hunger and balance. So if he's if he's ingesting, and you don't have to just ingest with food, that's the most primal faculty, but you can also ingest with the eyes. If you saw his eyes, there was fear, but then there was that, and he was wide open. And he was taking it, he was ingesting with his eyes. So when the dog feels in control, then his higher faculties evolve to be part of the primal faculty of ingestive orientation. So he was drinking all in with his eyes. Another very interesting thing on the tape is that outside in the